Welcome to another class. I hope you're safe, keeping healthy, and studying. So, in my last class, I told you how are animal tissues different from plant tissues. So, today, let us go into the details about plant tissues and see. Then, later on, when we study animal tissues, then you can compare them again and see how they are different. So, this here behind me is an overview of the plant tissues. All the tissues that we have to study are mentioned here. So, the plant tissues, major plant tissues can be categorized into basically only two, but this is complementary, another part I'll tell you. So, the plants, I told you last time, do not grow from everywhere. Most of the tissues have lost the capability of growth. So only these are the tissues. Meristematic tissues are the only tissues in plants that retain the property of growth. They can grow. The rest all tissues can't grow. So if they want extra cells, they will have to tell meristematic tissues. Meristematic tissues are going to give them new cells because they can't produce new cells. They have lost the capability of cell division. The cell division function is only for the meristematic tissues in plants. So here in the plant tissues are categorized. The first classification category of cell of tissues inside plants is the meristematic tissues. The meristematic tissues are the tissues, as I told you, they have retained the property of cell division. They cause growth in the plants. And then we will see the three different types of meristematic tissues: the apical meristem, the intercalary meristem, and the lateral meristem. What do they mean? Where are they present? What are their functions? We will go into detail in few moments. But before that, let us see these cells also. So the other category of cells that cannot do cell division, that cannot divide, are permanent tissues. Permanent tissues can divide. They have the capability. Permanent tissues have lost the capability of cell division. They can't divide. That's why they are known as permanent. They can't divide, they will be there as it is. So they are permanent tissues. Now permanent tissues, depending upon the types of cells they are made up of and depending upon what type of functions they perform, we have categorized them as simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. Simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. Simple permanent tissues are made up of single type of cells and they perform simple functions, and they are of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. We'll see them in detail later. Then we'll also see complex permanent tissues. They perform complex functions and they are made up of different types of cells. So complex, they are called complex. And since they can't divide, they are known as permanent tissues. And they are only two types, xylem and phloem. They help in transportation. When time comes, we will study this. And then we also have the epidermal tissues, or simply you can call them the epidermis. Epidermis, derma means skin. Derma means skin. A person, a doctor who treats your skin or hair is known as a dermatologist, because derma means skin. So here we have epidermis. So you can guess the meaning. Epi means outer. So these tissues are the outer skin, outer layer of tissues that cover other tissues. They are the covering tissues. That's why they are called epidermis. They cover the different tissues. They cover the leaf, they cover the stem, they cover the roots. So they are a layer of tissues that cover the different other tissues present inside. So we have to study all these three major categories, but majorly only two: meristematic and permanent. These are not so special. These are special, meristematic and permanent. So we'll have to see them in detail. Today we will study the meristematic in detail. So let us see the meristematic tissues. Talking about the meristematic tissues, I told you. These meristematic tissues, what are these tissues? These tissues have the capability, have the ability to perform cell division. So they have the capability to perform cell division. That is their most important property. Meristematic tissues. What is meristematic tissues? They are tissues in the plants that have the capability to show cell division, or they have the capability to show growth because they do cell division. What is their role in the plant? They cause growth in plants. So plants, if plants need to grow, they require meristematic tissues. Meristematic cause growth, any sort of growth. If you want the plant to go on top, increase in length, that is also caused due to meristematic tissues. When you see plants growing by girth, their width will increase. Initially the plant is very thin, lean, but as it grows, the stem increases in diameter. So that's called the girth. The girth of the plant increases, and increase of girth is caused also by meristematic tissues. So whether it is vertical growth or horizontal growth or any sort of growth, plants grow with the help of meristematic tissues. So these are tissues that show cell division. Very important point, the only important point. And since they show growth, they do not perform any other activities. These tissues we'll call are undifferentiated. So the only tissue in plant that is undifferentiated is the meristematic tissues. They are undifferentiated. In my last class I told you what does this word differentiated and undifferentiated mean. Undifferentiated means they do not have any specific function. They like other cells, other tissues we will study later, they have that specific role. They are specialized in certain functions. But here these tissues, they are not specialized in any. These are like children, like you people. You are studying Hindi, English, social, maths and science and all different subjects, but you are not specialized. But look at your teachers. They are specialized in a single subject because they are taking their subject. Their subject is one particular subject, they are taking it for years. So after teaching for years, they become specialized in that. You ask them any question, they'll be able to answer. So you look at your parents, your daddy, your mommy. Your daddy is specialized in whatever he is doing. He can't do what I am doing, or maybe he will be able to do, but then he can't do what a shopkeeper cannot do what a police is doing. A police cannot do what a shopkeeper is doing. A lawyer cannot do what a doctor is doing. A doctor cannot do what an engineer is doing because they are specialized in their streams. So they are, we can say, specialized, but you watching the video are unspecialized. Unspecialized, you in future you will be specialized, but not now. Same way in meristematic tissues, they produce new cells which are undifferentiated. Gradually as they mature, they will become specialized or differentiated, but these at present at the meristematic stage, they are undifferentiated tissues, right? So these 3 points keep in mind. Meristematic tissues, they show cell division, and since they show cell division, they are capable of performing growth. And then all the cells that they are producing, they are children, they are small little cells, so they are undifferentiated. Okay, now when you look into the microscope for meristematic cells, there are some properties of these cells. So the properties of cells in meristematic tissues. The properties of the cells present in the meristematic tissues. When you look in the microscope, what are the properties these cells will show? So these cells, first of all, these cells, because they are continuously dividing, they are not allowed to grow as much. So their size will be small in size. So they will not grow as much, they will be smaller as compared to the other cells. So they are small in size. That is one important factor. And since they cannot grow much, listen to this, as cells grow, as plant cells grow, their cell wall also grows with them. It becomes thick and thicker gradually. But here cells are not allowed to grow. So what will happen to the cell wall? The cell wall even will not be able to grow. So these tissues will have a very thin cell wall. They will have a thin cell wall because the cell wall is not allowed to grow. Before they grow, the cell divides. So that's what it is. That's why the cell wall is thin. And then recall in your previous chapter, which was the organelle in a cell that allows cell division? Which was the organelle that causes cell division? That organelle is the nucleus. So because their work is cell division, what will be the properties of the nucleus? These cells will have a large nucleus because that is the organelle that is working. The rest all is not working. So they have a large and prominent nucleus. They have a large and prominent nucleus. You will be able to distinctly see their nucleus, and when you compare their size with the nucleus as compared to the other cells will be large but the nucleus will be small. But meristematic tissues, the cells will be small, nucleus will be large as compared to the cells. So they have a prominent, distinct nucleus. And since they are dividing, lot of chemicals are present in the cytoplasm. Lot of organelles, lot of enzymes are present in the cytoplasm. So due to that, when you look into the microscope, these cells will show a dense cytoplasm. They have a dense cytoplasm. Major properties of these cells, and one little property, one not so important property. We studied vacuoles in the previous chapter. Vacuoles store the waste products of the cells and even some important ones also. But these cells, they are not allowed to grow. I am repeating that again and again. They are not allowed to grow. So they do not produce as much waste as other cells do. So what about the vacuoles? Since they don't produce waste, what will happen? They usually lack vacuoles. They lack vacuoles. They will usually they don't have vacuoles, or if they have, they will have a very small vacuole. Otherwise, they usually don't have vacuoles. So here, if somebody asks you what are the properties of the cells present in the meristematic tissues, this is the properties of meristematic tissues. Fine. So with this, I will leave you. There are different types of meristematic tissues. We will study that in our next class. Till then, revise what I taught, and also whatever I teach, you need to go and check that in your book. Underline important terms, not only in your book, even other sources. Go through the other sources and check whatever we learned. Once you learn from different sources, the idea of the topic that we're teaching gets clearer in your mind. The more you read about that topic, the more it gets clearer. The perspective, I told you my perspective. Now the textbook will have its own perspective. The different sources, if you go through the websites, if you go through the different books, you will get their perspectives. Once you get perspectives of many people who are into this field, the topic will get clearer in your mind. Okay, so with that, I will leave you to research for yourself about the meristematic tissues, and keep safe till we meet the next time. Bye.